So you're obviously getting the picture that we can tap in to ourselves. Yeah, obviously what I'm doing with everyone here, we can do within ourselves. So we can tap in to our body and we can tap into other people. But there's more things we can do. When we have a heightened awareness, there really is no limit. Now, some of you may be familiar with the concept of time, and that time is not actually linear. We experience time in a linear fashion because that's what we believe it to be. And as you've learned, what we believe we experience. You can actually transcend that belief and you can experience time in a multitude of ways. Or you can experience a multitude of different times. So I want to demonstrate a little bit of that with you. So imagine if you could actually elevate beyond this current temporal perspective and to move into what's happening in a week, what's happening in 5 years, what's happening in 25 years. What if you could actually see where your decisions today are leading you and who your being about yourself is taking you? And what if you could then see what that takes you and go, wait a minute, I don't want that outcome, and make the changes in the here and now? Would that be useful?
Yes.
What about this? What if you could jump ahead 10 years, talk to your future self and ask, what lessons have I learned in 10 years' time that I can embody in the here and now? Would that be useful? What if you could go to the time of your departure and you could ask yourself, what's the most important thing about life that we had overlooked? And to get the answer so you could live it in the here and now for the rest of your life rather than spending another 40 years learning that. Would that be helpful? Here's another one. Those of you who have kids or grandkids, what if you could jump ahead in time and see who they are at 18 and 25? See them taking drugs, being promiscuous, doing all these wonderful self-destructive things, and see what led them down that path and correct it in the here and now at age 4 or 5. Would that be profound? Craig's into that one. We have that ability because this awareness of this linear moment is just one level of consciousness. Your intuition, that higher consciousness, is not bound in the here and now. That's how come it knows that if you go this path, this is the outcome. If you go that path, this is the outcome. That consciousness is jumping ahead, seeing what those seeds create. And you are that consciousness, so you can do that. So who would like to do a demonstration of that? Who would like to explore what's happening in their future and see if what we can correct in the here and now? And I'm hearing Marita's just yelling out, me. All right, I'm game. And I want to thank Marita because so many of you are here because of her.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And what a gift to have a friend that holds your highest good in her heart to such a point that she would
Insist. That they be here.
That's the word I was looking for. Great. Okay, let's have a look. Is there a particular thing you'd like to explore or experience? Because when we use this, we call it a projection. When we go into the future, we can use it for so many things. We can project into certain experiences. We can project into times of when we've overcome something. We can project into when we've had a baby, what that was like. And that's what Sonny would do to have natural pain-free birth. She would constantly jump ahead, 9 months or 8 months or 7 months, whatever it was. And she would go, oh, and she would see it. Oh, I'm in pain. She would ask the future self, what's creating that pain? Oh, well, you didn't clear this, and this. You still believe this, and this. Go back, clear it, jump ahead. Is there still pain? Still a little bit. What happened? You let the obstetrician in to come in and induce the baby. Oh, Jesus, I'm not going to do that then, am I? Bang. In that moment, obstetrician comes in. Would you like me to induce the baby? No. Not going to happen. She saw it ahead of time. What are we going to do for you?
Well, I'm not. What I'd mostly like to know is where is you are going to take me?
Oh, wow.
I really don't have anything else that troubles me in my conscious mind.
All right, let's play with that.
Yeah.
All right. I am feeling that we could go a little bit more specific for you because that's very broad, but that is information's coming on that. All right, so I'm just going to go into that high conscious where I can see without just being in this time zone. So let's go up. And it's because it's such an open-ended question, it's not a particular year to go to. It's not a particular time. It's kind of showing me 50 years all at once. So it's a little bit open-ended, but we'll go there. Like if you said, well, where's UI taking me in 10 years?
Yeah,
that gives me a very
that'll
narrow
do.
specific.
10 years will do.
Okay. So very important. The more specific your questions, the more specific your answers. So where's UI take me? Well, how many years? How many lifetimes?
Yeah.
Where do you want to go with that? Okay. So we're looking at 10 years?
Yep.
Okay. Let me go there. Okay. What I'm seeing, I'm being shown it as an image, and this isn't the only future. This is a likely future based on who she's being right now, the decisions she's making right now, the belief system she has right now, and so on. It's just one of many futures. We can look at all the futures, or actually I'm being told we can't look at all the futures. We can look at many, but not all. But this is one that's being shown to me. The one that's being shown to me is you're sitting on a carpet with some kids, and you're teaching school teachers how to connect into their children, how to clear beliefs, how to connect them into universal intelligence. You're not teaching the kids directly, you're teaching all the school teachers. How does that work for you?
That's great. Whatever works.
And you're just sitting, showing me you're sitting on a carpet in a classroom and you're talking to a little kid and you're kind of getting feedback from them. So what did you think of that? And what does your higher consciousness say about this? And you're kind of testing how the teachings affected them, your end customer. And there's a little girl and she's got reddy hair and you've just taught a class of teachers and they're all very proud of themselves. So that's what that 10-year mark is looking like. Mm-hmm. And you don't actually you look only a tiny little bit older than what you do now.
Woohoo. Yay.
So let's go into that future Marina, because aging, who would like to bring the aging process to an absolute halt?
Yep.
I can't believe it.
I'm up here.
Right. Yeah, reverse it as well. So with universal intelligence, I was going to say sky's the limit, but that's not the case, is it? Anything's possible. So I'm going to go back into that future Marina. We're going to ask, so what was the secret of not aging? Because she's showing me herself almost identical to what she looks like now. She doesn't look old. She doesn't look unhealthy. She doesn't look tired. She's just kind of grinning at me. She's going, because I practice what I preach. And what she's referring to is that she's gotten to a point where she's cleared all the non-truths out of her body. There's actually nothing causing aging.
Woohoo.
She's saying the only thing that's causing aging is she's overworking at that point. Now you know not to overwork. Right? So now the future, we just changed her future. We just brought something into awareness. Now her future is going to be different. So very important clue to everyone is what's aging the body is not years, but non-truths. That's pretty powerful, because the frequency of a non-truth is actually counter to what the body's after. The body wants to resonate at truth. And the more truth you resonate at, the younger you stay, the healthier you stay. The body's just expressing what the imbalance is of truth versus non-truth. The more truth, healthier, more glowing you are. So she's got that little smirk and the golden glow of going, You know,
Oh, look at me.
yeah, pretty much. I live the talk. That's what she's saying. I live the talk. I've gone through the hard yards. I cleared year after year after year. I've cleared everything out of me. So the only thing left in me is my soul. That's what she's saying. Her light, her glow.
I love you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you.
So imagine you guys doing that for yourselves, jumping ahead 10 years, 20 years and going, all right, what do I need to know? What does the present me need to know? How could I have avoided the aging? How could I have avoided the illness? You know, we do this exercise where you can jump ahead and you can see, what have I manifested? Now, usually manifesting is all about positive things, fast cars, boats, and all these things out there in the world that don't really mean anything at the end of the day. But when we look at manifesting, we also look at what are we manifesting that we don't want? You know, I had this thing with Sonia after we got back from our experience in America, and some of which was quite traumatic for us. I was in the future and I saw cancer in her body. I was like, oh, great, that's just perfect. So I was able to work with that energy and go, all right, let's clear. What was the cause of that cancer? When are you manifesting it? How did you manifest it? Let's heal that out now. Now that is not in her future. It's not in her present, not in her future. So we can go in and we can see, what am I creating? Oh, wow, I'm creating a tumor, or I'm creating a car accident, or I'm creating a rift between my children, or a separation. You can go, well, is that in my highest good? No. Well, how do I heal that? Come back and clear what you need to do here. It is intended that we draw upon this future so we don't keep screwing up things. If we were able to do that with the combustion engine, which has caused unbelievable chaos, we wouldn't have done it. If we were able to do that with plastic bags, we wouldn't have done it. This ability, the universe is saying, you need to know this stuff. You need to be able to jump ahead and go, the atomic bomb, is that a good idea? You need to look at that, because not only will you be able to defend yourself, but every other country in the world is going to want to stock them too. Not good for the planet. Yeah. So the ability to tap into the future it's almost got this, oh yeah, but that's not for everyone. That's kind of mystical and that's out there. The universe is saying, no, I want everyone to have it. I want everyone using this. I want a 5-year-old kid to know that if he goes skateboarding with his mates today, he's going to break his arm, and not to do that. To be able to jump ahead, is that the wisest decision? Bang, bang, bang. If I send my son to this school, who's he going to be at 16? What's going to happen? Or if I send him to this school, what's going to happen? Great. So, another ability that you guys can learn on your self-mastery journey, which I'll be talking about shortly. Welcome, Robert.
Oh, thank you.
Such beautiful piano playing earlier. Thank you for that.
Thank you. My pleasure. I just want to show you this first. I spoke to you about my legs on the Wednesday in Maroochydore.
About 3-4 weeks ago, yeah.
Thursday afternoon, I put 25 stitches in there when I fell off the stairs. So I'm just sort of wondering what's going on.
What, since then?
Yeah, the day after.
Oh, the day after?
The day after, on the Thursday, and the Wednesday in Maroochydore.
Wow.
I fell off the stairs, or some outdoor stairs, and tore a large hole in my...
So you want to know why you created that experience?
Yeah, I know question? I created it.
But why? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Interesting. All right, so this is a common question. It's like, well, how could I, if it's something like a sore back, or I put my back out moving house, or I caught a flu, or the guy on the TV show that had HIV, how did I create that? That's something I caught, I fell down the stairs. Obviously, that's what happened. Well, that's just one layer of reality. Let's go deeper. There's always a cause, a beingness, thanks Pam, a space that creates that. It reminds me of when we were moving house, and I absolutely did something to my back and couldn't move for a few days. And any observer out there would say, oh, well, you moved house. Of course that's going to happen. And when I tuned in, I went into my back. I said, what? That box wasn't that heavy. What happened? And it was saying to me, the space that I was lifting from was from resentment. I was so tired of moving houses. It was like our 7th time, that to lift another box was driving me nuts. So I picked that up from this space of, oh, another friggin' box. That energy, it wasn't lifting a box that did it. It was the space that I was coming from. So who you're being in any moment is creating a reality. So this is a beautiful example here with Robert. So let's have a look at what's going on in the leg. Okay, the very first thing it's saying is stubbornness. He just doesn't want to get this lesson. And he's going to keep inflicting pain upon himself until he's ready to hear some truth. So it's also saying he's afraid to move to the next level because he's afraid of, it's like he's become comfortable with the information he's learnt and he has available. It's like that I'm comfortable with, I know my way around it, it's cruisy, it's good. But if you're going to open me up to a whole new realm of information, I'm back to being a novice, a beginner again. And quite frankly, I don't want to feel that way.
I get bogged down. That's what I get bogged down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me have a look at that. Yeah, bogged down in detail, in all the mechanics of it all. So we'll go a bit deeper than that, and we'll just see what's the lesson here. What's the next level? Okay, the next level for Robert is self-love. That pretty much applies to all of us. But that's what he's ripe and ready for. Not all of us are right at that point. Some of us are still learning to be present. Some of us are still learning to eat well. But for him, the lesson is now self-love. Now, what's showing up there is, if I let that in, what gruesome past am I going to have to look at in order to deal with that? So these fears of remembering, of recalling, of reliving are preventing that next level of growth. And that applies to many in this room today. So let's go a little bit deeper. With Robert's permission, we're going to bring in some truth. Truth heals. Truth sets free. And it's saying you never really had to look at your wounds to heal them before. Why do you have to start doing that now?
Could you repeat that?
You never had to look at your wounding, your injuries in the to move beyond them in the past. Why do you have to start dredging things up now? Why has that become a concept? It's like you've never used that as a vehicle to move forward. Why all of a sudden is that a vehicle to move forward now? It's saying transcendence doesn't rely on bouncing off the past. Transcendence relies on releasing the past.
No, I'm with you. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, again, in many psychological circles, that is a reality. We need to look at the past in order to heal it. That's so out of date. That's so old. And the intelligence in Robert is saying he knows how to do this. He knows how not to have to look at that and dredge that up. It's not in his highest good. It's not in anyone's highest good to dredge all that stuff up. In fact, it's much better that he doesn't. It's a much faster growth process. He knows how to do this. Let go of needing the past as a condition of your identity, and you'll be free of it. It's that simple.
It's that simple.
Yeah. I'm saying it's that simple because he knows how to do it.
That's simple.
He knows how to do this. How do I know he knows how to do this? Because that's what the information is saying. He's actually quite masterful of seeing an attachment, releasing an attachment, seeing an attachment, releasing it. Yes?
Yeah.
You are, aren't you? I didn't make it up. I don't know you. How can I make this stuff up? But that's what I'm being shown. He's masterful at it. He doesn't get invested in, I need to hang on to this. He's just hit a point now, and I've just cleared that. See the attachments, release the attachments. You don't need them anymore. It's like old heirlooms, an old grandfather clock here, and old this. I don't need that anymore. I don't need that for. He knows that. You don't need my help. Go sit down.
Thank you, sir.
The ability to tap into infinite intelligence applies to every single industry, applies to every single area of life. And as you're going to get to see, if you've got a business question, we can tap into that and get the answers. So everything is energy, everything is consciousness. So we can tap in as we expand our awareness, we can access information. Please have a seat. Hi, Fran. How are you? I'm good. How are you? Good. Fran, what is this business?
Hairdressing salon.
Hairdressing. Oh, I had a feeling you were going to say that. Okay. Hairdressing salon. Is there any specific questions that you have?
How long am I going to be there for?
How long are you going to be there? Is it your hairdressing salon?
Yep.
It is yours. That's the question. Is how long are you going to be there for? Well, the first answer came about 2 to 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
But there's more questions than that, isn't there?
Yeah. Do I want to continue? Is there anything else?
Okay, there's a few things going on there. And you're going to get to see some really powerful things about fulfillment here. What we call the consciousness or high consciousness within Fran that she's showing me, the answer to that question is that your fulfillment in that business is suffering because you don't feel you're doing a worthwhile job anymore. It's like, am I really contributing? Am I really making a difference? And because that conversation's going on in the background, it's stopping her from seeing the difference that she's actually making. So now she's thinking, well, I want to get out of there. I want to do something more fulfilling. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And in fact, the message is it's being encouraged. But what's going to happen if that isn't resolved? She's going to bring that into the next experience. And she's going to keep coming up against, I'm not fulfilled here. Because she's bringing that conversation, I'm not making a big enough difference. She'll bring that into all her spaces, into her relationships, into her children. It's showing up everywhere. Yeah. Because the underlying belief is, I don't make a big enough difference in people's lives. That's Fran's belief. Not the truth. So we'll bring in a little bit of truth here. Now, I'm not here to heal everyone that comes up here, but I just want to demonstrate some truth here. So we go deeper in there. And the truth is that what Fran doesn't realise, her smile makes a difference. Will you smile for everyone? That makes a difference.
She's a bloody good hairdresser, by the way.
But you can't see that. It doesn't matter how good you are at something when you've got in the background, I don't make a big enough difference. And what Fran needs to understand is there's all these simple aspects to her and her life that actually makes a huge difference to other people. And when we become connected with that truth instead of with the mind, we can access our own truth. And we do this fantastic program, we call it Module 4. We call it about inner strength. That most of the time we spend our days in this impact of, I'm not good enough, I'm never going to be able to do that, that's going to be hard. And we give you the ability to go, wait a second, that's not the truth. What is the truth? And in an instant, that emotion's gone. No longer holding you back. That sabotage that would hold you back in every instant, gone. Fran, I feel there's one more question. What do you got?
Well, if I don't do what I'm doing...
What am I going to do?
Yeah.
until you see yourself as great, you will only allow in careers that validate I don't make a big enough difference. So, the real answer, we go deeper than that, is it can't be shown to you because you're like this. I don't make a big enough difference. Now, what you've got to understand about the physics of the universe is that everything has to match. There's a resonance to something. And whilst Fran has in her space, I don't make a big enough difference, what she's limiting or what she's attracting in is only thoughts that match I don't make a big enough difference. So the only ideas of what to do next will be fitting of that. Yeah? You can only see things like that. You see people like Steve Jobs that can come up with these billion-dollar ideas because he had a belief. I'm just going to tap in and get his belief because I haven't looked at this before. I'm an extraordinary thinker. That's his belief. So he could bring in extraordinary ideas. So I can't answer that. It's not that I can't. It's like the information's going, it's not forthcoming. Because the next step isn't to just go, hey, this is your new illustrious career. The next step is you need to heal that. Because if it's like that consciousness is saying, if I give it to you now, it will be 1/10 of what I really want for you, what I really desire for you and what you really desire for yourself, because that's all you can allow in. So I'd rather hold off until you clear that, then I can give you the riches that you really desire, experience, fulfillment, everything. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. So we get a lot of people asking, what's my sole purpose? But there's so many obstacles in the way, there's so many beliefs, you can't even hear it, some people. Can't let it in yet. Because what this intelligence in you, what its ideal life for you is, and for me too, is beyond what we would let in today. It is so big, so vast, so immaculate. Just can't let it in. Go back 8 years, and I was determined to be a bachelor for my whole life. Definitely no children. Forget about it, because my model of a relationship was my parents. And if you knew my parents, you wouldn't want to be married either. There was no way I was going there. So after a lot of kicking and screaming, this inner intelligence went whack, 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 whack. Do you have any idea what I'm trying to give you? And now I have Sonia, who's amazing. I have a beautiful boy who's 5, who I'm never going to have kids in my life. He's amazing. And I have this beautiful 18-month-year-old girl, and those of you who know her, she's spectacular. I would never have been able to let that in. So that's a very extreme version of what's going on here. So that answer will come once you accept that you're God's gift to the world. Okay? Mm-hmm. Now even that's quite hard for her to let in. Because it's on top of, I not make a big enough difference. But when you spend time with Pam or you do these things on your own, the training, you'll get to see it with your own eyes, you'll feel it, you'll experience it, it will integrate. And all of a sudden, those 2 to 3 years of staying at the hairdressing salon looks like 2 to 3 months. Because you've already gone through that learning curve that was going to take 3 years. You've compressed time, you've learnt it, you've got what you needed to get in that experience, you can move on to the next experience. Yeah? All right.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thanks, Fran. So you get to see that life's like a computer game. Once you get the lesson in an experience that you're not happy with, once you get that lesson, boom, all of a sudden there's a new experience coming in. But whilst you're kicking and screaming and resistant, it's like that energy, that intelligence that helps create and manifest, it's like, oh, you're not getting the lesson. If you don't get the lesson now, you're going to miss out on that amazing experience later. You need to get the lesson. All right, great. How can we help?
Daniel, I just feel like I'm always doubting myself for things, and maybe not doubt, but I bash myself about things. I'm my own worst critic.
Anyone else go through that? Beat yourself up over things and hard on yourself, Yeah, I've had that one too. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so what would be your question is how to resolve that? Is that your question, or what's underneath that? What's your question?
Yeah, probably how to resolve or how to deal with it a bit better. How not to be so critically.
Okay, great. All right, the first answer that comes through is, and this the message is for all of us as well, is to focus on the little things in our life. And what I'm being shown is, and I also know this, but I'm being shown it to bring it to Craig's attention. He's got 3 beautiful children that are perfect. Yeah?
Yeah.
And we can choose to direct our awareness towards our failings. And yes, we will inevitably beat ourselves up. But it's a discipline for humanity to bring that awareness back to what's useful and what's empowering. Yes, every single one of us, from Gandhi to Mother Teresa to every one of us, has something in our lives that if we focus on it, it will be our undoing. That's just what it is. Because if we focus on what it took to learn a lesson, that gets blown out of proportion. It was a necessary part. So the message for Craig and everyone is to start cultivating the discipline and the awareness that whatever we focus on, we're going to experience. And not only that, we're going to bring more of. So the first step is to start, like you've disciplined in your exercise and your diet, is to be disciplined in where the mind goes. And what's a safe place for you is your children, because you love them and you look at them as perfect, yeah?
Yeah.
So when you bring your awareness to them, it elevates your awareness, your consciousness, and then that attracts more positive thoughts in. But when we focus on failures, have you noticed this? Sends us into a spiral. Because that energy, that frequency, keeps bringing more like-minded thoughts in. So it becomes this self-perpetuating downward spiral that leads to depression and various other things. So the way out of that is to just focus on what's in our highest good. And I went through this experience. We were going through a rough time at that point in our life, and I was shown very clearly, all you should be doing is look at the trees. Don't put your awareness on anything else, because it will activate something. It will create some kind of frustration. Just zoom in on the trees. And that was a saving grace for me. So that's the first part for you, is just to know it's not going to just disappear, because it's the human condition as to how you spend your awareness. It's free will. I'm going to choose my awareness over here. Just like where you're going to drive your car. It's just par for the course. So the trick is to just keep building that with positive things. It's not a positive affirmation, but it works similarly. But it will just keep you out of burying yourself into the ground.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yep, absolutely.
Great.
Positive.
I'll see if there's anything else coming up. Okay, your wife. Another beautiful source of positivity and encouragement. Whenever you do indulge in that kind of self-destructive pummeling, the next discipline for you to cultivate is to go to your wife and ask, tell me how you feel about me. Yeah? Because her unconditional love is so uplifting and so empowering for you, you'll forget all the nonsense that you just hit yourself with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you married her.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had something that you were lacking. She loved you in a way that you didn't love yourself. And that was irresistible.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm hearing that.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
There you go. Awesome. Now there's some deeper steps that we can go through with Craig, which we can really start rooting out. Well, when did he start doubting himself? And let's bring some truth into that space. But he was coming from a space, I want answers now. I want solutions now. So the answers that came in were from that frequency. These are the answers he needs now. Give him that. But when he wants to go deeper, we can go deeper. Does that all make sense? So it's a beautiful illustration of accessing universal intelligence. The answers that come through aren't just answers to your question, they're answers to your space. If your space is, I want the quick fix, or the long-term fix, if your space is, I'm not deserving of something, or your space is, I'm deserving of everything, the answers will be, that will dictate the type of answers that come in.